In Indonesia, a Toyota 1NSV engine documented over 700,000 kilometers in taxi service on its original block. In the United States, the average engine struggles to reach 200,000 miles before major repair. Same engine, same oil chemistry, completely different protocol. A peer-reviewed study published in Nature Scientific Reports in July 2025 tracked anti-wear additive depletion in engine oil across multiple vehicles. The additives that protect your engine from metal-on-metal contact completely run out between 8,000 and 9,500 kilometers. At that exact point, iron wear particles in the oil spike by 4 times. The average American oil change happens at 16,000 kilometers. That is not a small gap. That is double the protection limit. There are 4 habits that Japanese fleet mechanics share. The interval is the obvious one. The 4th, almost nobody in the West does, and it is what separates a 200,000-mile engine from a 600,000-mile engine. Before any of that, there is one part of the process most American drivers get wrong before they even open the hood. Quick disclaimer before we start, the tips and guides in this video are for educational purposes only. Every vehicle is different, so please use this information at your own risk. We are not responsible for any damage or injury that may occur. When in doubt, always consult a professional mechanic. The 700,000-kilometer taxi is not an isolated story. Across Hong Kong and Japan, Toyota Crown Comfort taxi fleets built on a 2-decade-old design routinely outlast the newer models that replace them. In Indonesia, a single 1NSV engine running metered taxi service crossed 700,000 kilometers on the original block with documented service history. Different cities, different climates, identical maintenance protocol. What ties these fleets together is not luck. It is accounting. Japanese taxi operators run 100,000 vehicle fleets where a single premature engine failure costs more than 2 years of fuel savings. Their oil protocols are not opinions. They are financial decisions made by people who own the failure data. That fleet-level data points to the same set of practices. A 5,000-kilometer oil interval, OEM-grade filtration, controlled cold starts, and meticulous service logs. The discipline is real, and the outcomes are documented. The reason it works at the molecular level is what almost nobody bothers to explain. Inside your engine right now, a chemical compound called ZDDP, zinc dialkyl dithiophosphate, is doing the work of a sacrificial bodyguard. Every time metal slides against metal at the bearings, the camshaft, the piston ring, ZDDP molecules race to the contact point and form a tribofilm, a thin protective layer that wears in place of your engine internals. The metal stays intact. The ZDDP gets consumed. That bodyguard runs out. The Nature Scientific Reports field study from last July measured the relationship in numbers most American drivers have never seen. The correlation between phosphorus content and wear scar diameter came in at minus 0.799. The correlation between zinc and wear was even tighter, at minus 0.931. In field research, those numbers indicate an extremely tight relationship. Translated to plain language, the less ZDDP in your oil, the larger and deeper the wear marks left inside your engine. Earlier research cited within that study found something even more uncomfortable. ZDDP intermediate products begin forming and depleting within the first 6,000 kilometers. Your engine's protection starts degrading from kilometer 1, and the degradation accelerates. A separate large-scale study measured the final stage. At 8,000 to 9,500 kilometers, ZDDP is fully depleted. Iron accumulation in the oil quadruples. That iron is not coming from nowhere. It is coming from your bearings, your cam lobes, your cylinder walls. 2 other forces accelerate the depletion. Soot particles physically absorb ZDDP molecules, pulling them out of suspension before they ever reach the metal surfaces. And fuel dilution from short trips thins the oil below specification, so the hydrodynamic film that normally separates moving parts collapses, forcing the depleted additives to do work they were never designed to handle alone. A subscriber sent me his used oil analysis at 7,200 miles on full synthetic, the exact interval his dealer recommended. Iron at 32 parts per million, copper rising, aluminum trace. The chemistry was telling him what the dashboard was not. His engine was eating itself, quietly. On a maintenance schedule, his dealer called normal. That dealer was not lying. Toyota's 10,000-mile interval is real, and it applies to vehicles operating under conditions Toyota defines as ideal. Sustained highway speeds, long warm trips, stable operating temperature, minimal idle time. Almost nobody actually drives that way. The AAA collected the data, and the gap is staggering. 62% of American motorists drive under conditions Toyota classifies as severe service. Only 6% of those drivers recognize themselves as severe service drivers. Short trips under 10 miles, stop-and-go traffic, cold climates, hot climates, dusty roads, any combination of these qualifies. That is most commutes in this country. Toyota's own severe service recommendation, buried in the maintenance schedule most owners never read, is every 5,000 miles or 6 months, whichever comes first. The same manufacturer that gives you a 10,000-mile sticker on the windshield tells you, in the fine print, to cut that interval in half if you actually drive like most people do. The newer engines compound the problem. The 0W8 and 0W16 viscosity grades specified for fuel economy compliance shear down faster under sustained heat, which means the protective film thins even before the additives deplete. Thinner oil, longer interval, more wear. The math runs in the wrong direction for engine longevity. Japanese fleet mechanics solved this decades ago. The fix is not a single change. It is 4 protocols layered together. And the first one is the only one most drivers ever hear about. Those 4 protocols form a sequence, and layer 1 is the interval. Standard Japanese dealer practice is an oil and filter change every 5,000 kilometers, roughly 3,100 miles, or every 6 months, whichever comes first. Most Japanese owners do this through their dealer's twice-yearly maintenance package, the same rhythm built into the mandatory inspection cycle every 2 years. Why 5,000 kilometers specifically? Look back at that field data. ZDDP fully depletes between 8,000 and 9,500 kilometers. A 5,000-kilometer interval lands safely before the protection threshold collapses. The engine never operates on oil that has crossed the wear protection cliff. Ever. Here is the line from the peer-reviewed study that should be on the refrigerator of every American driver. Your engine's anti-wear protection completely runs out between 8,000 and 9,500 kilometers. The average American oil change happens at 16,000 kilometers. That is not a minor schedule disagreement. That is roughly double the protection limit. The Japanese protocol stays below the cliff. The American factory schedule sails straight over it. There is a situation where the 10,000-mile interval is defensible, and it is worth saying out loud. If you drive almost exclusively on the highway, hit full operating temperature within 10 minutes of every start, never sit in traffic, and rarely take trips under 10 miles, the extended interval has engineering support. Long, warm trips burn off moisture, dissipate fuel dilution, and keep additive chemistry stable longer. That driver exists. That driver is not most drivers. For everyone else, the math is brutal. One trip under 5 miles in cold weather costs you days of additive life. Stop-and-go traffic in summer heat costs you weeks. The factory interval was never written for the way most Americans actually drive, and the consequences accumulate silently inside the oil pan. This is the most important number in the entire video, 8,000 kilometers. Not because it is the only thing that matters, but because it is the chemistry threshold every other Japanese protocol is built to respect. Layer 1 protects the interval. Layers 2, 3, and 4 protect the oil during the interval, and most DIYers who upgrade their schedule still undo half the benefit by skipping them. The next layer is where most experienced car owners go wrong. It costs less than $15, and it sits inside the oil filter housing. Layer 2 is the oil filter. Filtration efficiency varies from 50% to over 99% at the 20-micron particle size, and the difference shows up in every used oil analysis I have ever read. Cheap quick lube filters typically test around 50 to 60% efficiency. The OEM Toyota and Honda filters, along with Japanese aftermarket equivalents from Denso and Tokyo Roki, target above 90%. The chemistry connection matters here. Remember, the soot adsorption problem. Particles that pass through a low-efficiency filter circulate back into the oil supply, attract ZDDP molecules onto their surfaces, and accelerate the depletion of the additive package you just paid for. A cheap filter does not just fail to remove particles. It cancels out part of the new oil's protection. The cost difference is small. An OEM-grade filter runs $12 to $18. A generic quick lube filter runs $4 to $8. Across 3 changes per year, you are spending roughly $30 extra to make sure the additive package you paid for actually reaches the metal. Spending $200 more on oil while saving $10 on filtration is the most common mistake disciplined DIYers make. Layer 3 is the cold start protocol, and this is where almost everyone, including experienced car owners, gets it wrong. Japanese high-mileage drivers idle for 30 to 60 seconds before applying load to the engine, and then drive gently for the first 5 minutes. The reason is not emotional warmth for the engine. It is oil viscosity physics. Cold oil is viscous and slow. At ambient temperatures below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, oil takes time to reach the upper bearings, the cam lobes, and the timing chain. Starting under immediate load forces metal-on-metal contact during the worst possible moment for the additive chemistry. Your tribofilm cannot form on parts the oil has not yet reached. The damage compounds with trip length. Cold start combustion blow-by drives water vapor and acidic compounds into the crankcase, and short trips under 5 miles never burn them off. The moisture stays trapped in the oil, accelerates oxidation, and breaks down the additive package. AAA classifies this single failure mode as the largest reason most American drivers should be on a severe service schedule and do not know it. Layer 4 costs $0. It is the habit that separates Japanese fleet operators from every other driver, and most American maintenance content never mentions it. A written service log. Date, mileage, oil brand and viscosity, filter brand, observed oil color at drain, any unusual sound or behavior since the last change. 60 seconds per service. Why this matters is pattern recognition. A 200-mile shift in how quickly the oil darkens change to change signals injector trouble or coolant contamination 6 months before any dashboard warning fires. The discipline of writing it down forces the observation. The observation catches the problem when it costs $50 instead of $5,000. 4 layers. 5,000 kilometer interval, 90% efficient filter, controlled cold start, and a service log, each one cheap. Together, they are the difference between an engine that quietly grenades at 180,000 miles and one that crosses 600,000, still pulling its rated compression. If this just changed how you think about your next oil change, hit subscribe. The full Japanese maintenance protocol comes in the next 3 videos, and skipping any of them is exactly the gap Japanese mechanics know to close. Now, the full 15-year math, because the Japanese protocol only sounds expensive until you put the numbers next to each other. 3 oil changes a year at $65 to $80 each comes to $195 to $240 annually. Multiply by 15 years, and the disciplined Japanese schedule costs roughly $3,000 to $3,600 over the life of the vehicle. The factory schedule looks cheaper on paper. One change every 12 months at $80 to $100 comes to about $1,500 across 15 years. The gap between the two approaches is roughly $1,500 to $2,000 spread over a decade and a half. That is the price tag on the discipline. Here is what that price tag buys you. An engine rebuild on a modern platform runs $4,000 to $8,500 depending on labor market and parts availability. A single prevented engine failure pays for the discipline schedule roughly 2.5 times over. The one ends fee taxi we opened with crossed 700,000 kilometers on the original block. The typical American engine begins burning oil and losing compression somewhere between 150,000 and 200,000 miles. That difference is not a manufacturing miracle, it is accounting playing out in metal. You spend $1,500 over 15 years buying insurance against a $4,200 engine. Or you save the $1,500 now and bet your bottom end against the wear curve. Japanese fleet operators do not gamble with their margin. That is why their cars outlive ours. Here is what the data confirms. The wear chemistry, the additive depletion thresholds, the filter efficiency numbers, all of that comes from independent field research. What experienced Japanese fleet mechanics add, based on decades of teardowns, is that the 4 layers compound. Each one alone helps. Together, they roughly double the useful life of the engine, and the entire system takes less time to execute than most people spend choosing what to watch on TV. Here is the complete protocol, 4 steps, every one of them executable on a Saturday morning. Step 1 is the interval. Oil and filter change every 5,000 miles, or 6 months, whichever comes first. Most drivers will do this 2 or 3 times a year, depending on their commute. Cost per service runs $65 to $80 with OEM-grade synthetic, and 30 minutes if you do it yourself. Closer to $45 if you have a shop do it. Step 2 is the filter upgrade. Switch to OEM or Japanese aftermarket like Denso or Tokyo Roki at 90% or better efficiency at 20 microns. The cost premium is $8 to $14 over a generic filter. The install time is identical, and you do it every oil change. Now, step 3 is the cold start protocol. 30 seconds idle minimum before driving, gentle inputs for the first 5 minutes, no full throttle until the oil temperature reaches normal. Cost is 0. Time is 30 seconds per start. Frequency is every start, every day, for the life of the car. Step 4 is the service log. Date, mileage, oil brand and viscosity, filter brand, oil color at drain, any unusual sound or behavior since the last service. Cost is 0, time is 60 seconds, frequency is every change. A spiral notebook works, a phone note works, the format does not matter, the discipline does. Total annual cost above the factory schedule is $100 to $145. Total insurance value is 1 engine. Before we wrap up, there is one thing about the Japanese approach that almost nobody captures correctly, and it is not about cars. The American maintenance schedule is optimized for convenience. Fewer trips to the shop, less time under the hood, more miles between appointments. The Japanese schedule is optimized for outcome. Longest possible engine life, lowest total cost of ownership, highest residual value at resale. These are different goals, and most drivers never realize they were handed the convenient schedule instead of the protective one. A 5,000-mile interval is not more work. It is 1 extra oil change per year, roughly 60 minutes of your time, in exchange for potentially doubling your engine's useful life. Remember the one ends fee taxi that crossed 700,000 kilometers? That engine did not happen by accident. It happened because somebody decided 60 extra minutes a year was worth more than a $4,200 engine. Japanese mechanics do not change their oil more often because they are paranoid. They do it because they are doing math. Drop your engine's current mileage and your oil change interval in the comments. I read every one of them, and I want to see who is already running the Japanese protocol. If you are switching to the 5,000-mile interval this month, come back in 6 months with your used oil analysis numbers. I will feature the most disciplined results in a future video. And once your oil is handled, the next thing draining your wallet is your fuel bill. Japanese drivers cut theirs by up to 50% with one technique American drivers consistently get wrong. That video is on your screen right now. Click it next, because the same discipline that protects your engine is the same discipline that cuts your fuel costs in half. Every script, edit, and voiceover on this channel is crafted with real human expertise, not mass-produced content. If this helped you, subscribe for more.